Bole Baba Ki Jai, Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai. In our last discourse, we heard that Sasikala's father, Sabahu, King Sabahu, was going to have a Swayambara for Sasikala, which she was supposed to choose her husband. And she, on her own, invited Sudarsana to come because that's the husband she wants. So the kings have heard about this, and they don't sound particularly happy, particularly King Udajit. So let's continue with chapter 20. Vedavyasa continues the story and said, O noble-minded one, the king Udajit replied to the address of the king of Kerala thus, O king, you are truthful and have restrained your passions. What you have told just now in this assembly of kings is all correct and approved by morality. O best of kings, you are born of a high family. You better say, how can this take place, that when so many fit persons are present here to become the bridegroom, can an unworthy person take away that offer? As a jackal is never fit to enjoy what are the dues of a lion, so the Sudarsana is also unfit to acquire this bride elect. The Brahmanas have the Vedas as their strength. The Kshatriya kings take bows and arrows to be their source of strength. This is ordained everywhere. Therefore, O king, what wrong have I done in my statement? Kindly explain. The power of the kings in this is befitting of money given to the parents of a bride. According to this, the strongest man is to acquire the bride, a jewel. The Kshatriya that are weak can never acquire that. Make this the rule in this marriage. This earth is to be enjoyed by the heroes only, and not by the cowards and the intriguing people. Otherwise, quarrels are sure to ensue amongst the kings. The dispute thus arose in the Swayambara hall, and the king Sabahu was called in. The kings that could see the reality of things then addressed the king Sabahu. O king, you are requested to establish a golden rule in this marriage ceremony. What is your object in calling this Swayambara? Better give it out after a mature consideration. Please be explicit. Whom have you intended to give your daughter to in this marriage? Sabahu said, my daughter has mentally selected Sudarsana. I prevented her repeatedly from doing this, but she did not accept my word. What shall I do now? The mind of my daughter now is not at all her will. Sudarsana, too, though uninvited, has come here singly and is residing calmly without any signs of disturbance in his mind. Then the chief kings all invited Sudarsana there. Sudarsana too came there quietly, and the princes and the kings, seeing his quiet manner, asked him, O one engaged in practicing vows, who has invited you here? Why have you come here singly in this assembly of kings? You have no force, no ministers, no help, no wealth, and no army. O intelligent, then explain, why have you come here alone? In this assembly of kings, you see that the powerful monarchs are ready to fight with each other for the sake of this princess. What do you intend to do under these circumstances? Your brother, too, is come here to have the princess. He has got his army and is also marked with his strength and valor. The powerful Udajit has come here also to help him. O observer of good vows, seeing you without any army, we have narrated to you all the facts. Now think and do accordingly, if you please. Remain here or go anywhere else. Sudarsana replied, True, I have no army, no help, no wealth, no forts, no friends or no kings to protect me. Hearing that the Swayamvara will be held here, I have come here to witness it. But there is one particularity here. It is this: the Devi, Bhagavati, has ordered me in my dream to come here. Under her command I have come here. There is no doubt in this. I have got no other object in view. I have obeyed what the Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari has ordered me to do. Today will happen, no doubt, what she has ordained. O kings, I am seeing everywhere the Supreme Goddess Bhagavati Bhavani. Therefore there is no enemy of mine in this world, but he who will turn out an enemy of mine will be duly punished by the Mahavidya Mahamaya. I do not know what is enmity. O king, what is inevitable will surely come to pass. There will be nothing otherwise. I am always depending on fate, destiny. What is the use then in thinking what will be the results? Everywhere in the devas, in the spirits, in the men, in all beings, the Devi's power is existent. It cannot be otherwise. O king, whoever she wishes, she makes kings, masters of wealth, emeralds holders of great wealth. What is then the use of bothering my head in this? When even the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, without her presence become powerless enough to move their hand or feet, then why shall I be anxious for the results? O kings, whether I am unable or able, or an ordinary person, you have nothing to consider. I have come here in the assembly hall under the command of the Supreme Bhagavati. What she has willed, she will do that. I am not to care for that, O high-minded ones. You need not be afraid at all in this. I have told you all the truth. Victory or defeat, I feel no shame in either of them, for I am always under the command of the Bhagavati. Therefore, if there be any shame here, it's all hers. Hearing thus his words and seeing that his mind is firmly devoted to Bhagavati, the kings saw each other and said thus, O Sudarsana, what you have said is quite true. It is never otherwise. Still, Yudhajit, the king, is intent on killing you. O intelligent, O sinless, we have all come to know that there is no trace of evil in you. We were all overcome with pity for you. Hence we have informed you. Now think and do the needful. Sudarsana said, you are all kind and large-hearted. What you all have said is quite true. What shall I tell you, being a minor as yet? O kings, no one can cause the death of another. All this world, moving and unmoving, is under the control of fate. No soul is independent. Everyone is under the effects of one's own karma. The Pandavas, the pundits who have realized the truth say that karma is of three kinds: accumulated, present, and pranabodha. This whole world is due to kal, time, kama, action, and svabhava, nature. Unless the proper time comes, even the devas cannot kill men. The men are killed on account of some cause, immediate, but the great time is the real destroyer. My father, though a destroyer of many others, was himself killed by a lion, and my mother's father was slain by Yudhajit in the battle. The jivas, though caring hard to preserve their lives, are killed by fate in spite of all their cares, and they live thousands of years, though there is none to protect them. O religious kings, I do not fear a bit from Yudhajit. I consider fate as the supreme, and I therefore remain always undisturbed, calm, and quiet. Daily and constantly I remember Bhagavati, who is the mother of all the universe. She will look after my welfare. Behold, one will have certainly to bear the burden of one's past karmas, whether it be good or it be bad. One's own actions must bear their fruits. Then why shall he be sorry who has come to know this? The less intelligent, deluded persons, on getting pain from their own actions, turn out enemies on very trifling matters. I do not grieve, nor do I fear, on account of such enemies. I am staying here in the assembly of kings, cool-minded. Under the order of Chandika, I have come here to see this Swayamvara. Whatever is inevitable will surely come to pass. The words of the Bhagavati are the best proof. I do not know any other. My mind is entirely given up to her. There will be nothing otherwise than what she has ordained, whether it is good or whether it is bad. O King, let Udaji remain in peace. I have no enmity with him. He who will deal inimicably with me will certainly reap his reward. There is not the least doubt in this. Vedavyasa went on with the story. O king, when Sudarsana addressed them thus, all the kings became very glad, and they all remained there for the Swayamvara. Sudarsana too went to his camp and remained also calm and quiet. Next day, the king Sabahu invited all the kings present to his city to their respective seats in the Swayamvara hall. The prince and the kings, decorated with best ornaments, came and took their seats on their respective platforms, covered with valuable carpets of best workmanship. The kings then looked like the celestial devas, wearing divine ornaments and apparels, blazing with illustrious light of gems, and remained to see the Swayamvara affair. Everyone there had their foremost thought in his mind, when will the princess, the bride-elect, when she would come there, and who will be the man so fortunate as to be blessed with a garland offered by her as a token of selection of the bridegroom. If accidentally she offers a garland to Sudarsana in the Swayamvara assembly, then will ensue, no doubt, desperate struggles amongst the kings. While they were thus meditating, sounds of drums were loudly sounded. Then Sabahu, the king of Benares, went to his daughter and found that Sasikela had just taken her bath and put on her silken clothes and adorned herself with various ornaments and sweet garlands. Thus dressed in complete marriage dress, she began to shine like another goddess, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. The king, on seeing his daughter dressed in silken clothes, afflicted with anxious thoughts, just smiled and said, "Child, rise and take the beautiful garlands by your hand and go to the Swayamvara hall and just look at the assembly of kings. O lean-bodied one, whoever well-qualified, beautiful, and noble birth amongst the kings is reigning in your mind, better select him. O graceful one, the kings from various quarters are adorning their respective seats. Better go and see and select whomever you like." Vedavyasa said, when Sabahu had spoken thus, Sasikala, who generally talked little, replied with sweet, sonorous words impregnated with religious truth. "Father, I won't go before the kings who are inspired by lust. Women like me never go there. It is those that are dissolute that attend these kind of places. Father, I have heard from the religious texts that women should cast their glance on their husbands only and not on any other. The woman that goes to many persons is mentally claimed by all. Each of them contemplates strongly, 'Let this woman be mine.' Thus her chastity is destroyed. Desires of selecting her husband, when the woman holding in her hand the garland for her would-be husband goes to the Swayamvara hall, then she turns out like an ordinary unchaste woman. As a prostitute going to a public shop looks on many persons and judges of their merits and demerits according to her own powers of judgment, the maid that goes in the Swayamvara hall does exactly the same. How can I behave myself in the hall of the assembly of kings like a prostitute who does not attach her feelings firmly on a single individual, but glances constantly at many lustful persons? Though the system is approved by the elderly persons, I am not going to follow that now. I will take the vow of a chaste woman and act up that doctrine as perfectly as I can. I will never be able to act like an ordinary woman going to that hall, mentally determining many and finally selecting one. Father, from the beginning, I have given myself up to Sudarsana in mind, word, and deed. I have not the least inclination to leave him and select another in his stead. O King, if you want to have my welfare, then give your daughter on an auspicious day and in an auspicious langa to Sudarsana, according to the prescribed rites. Thus ends the 20th chapter on the Swayamvara hall and the king's conversations there in the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki jai. Vishveshwari Mata ki jai. Bole Baba ki jai.